Mark and Joey here on, wow, it's been a crazy week. It's Christmas, so we took a couple of days off, but it is Friday, and a really important Friday coming up here with the NFL final games of the week. And in fact, we're going to go through not only our rewind show, but a prediction show on the playoffs. And I was going through them. It's kind of crazy what can happen this weekend. So it's been great football. First of all, guys, I do want to mention the website, ultimatesportschannel.com. If you head over there, we really appreciate it. First of all, we have a lot of things there for you, including things from our sponsors, which you can pick up, all like great deals. And one that's from us, personally from us, through a company that we partner with, a free trip, 3-night trip in the U.S., 5-night trip outside the U.S. We offer these for free. All you do is pay taxes. So if you go there, you just have to email us, and we're going to give you that. Also, a $100 restaurant card, Joey. You save $100 at restaurants here locally in whatever city you're in, and also $100 in travel savings as well. So,
and I tell you, those people up north right now should be getting on that. Yeah. With all the snow you guys have been having, you can probably use that vacation. So definitely check that out.
If you want to come down Florida, like we're in Myrtle Beach right now. By the way, 2 days away from moving to Florida. We're looking forward to it. But everybody in the north should be headed down here. Don't go to California. They've had monster snow. I just saw this morning. So come down here to Florida. We can get you a vacation free of charge other than taxes. You can't beat that. So let us know if you're interested in receiving that. And we have other sponsors on there. And we have a discount from every sponsor we have, something we've negotiated for our fans. So if you do that, it'd be great. We really appreciate it. Hey, listen, 1.1 million views on Vimeo.com now. We started this back in April, and to be fair, the numbers are bigger. We were pretty small numbers when we started out, obviously. So now 1.1 million. We thank you all. It's been fantastic. Roku up to 29,000 subscribers now on the show, so we're loving that as well. Appreciate all you guys. Hey, listen, on Roku, if you don't mind, you go to the channel, Joey, and then what do you do to give us a rating or a review?
Well, you go to the channel and you click on the star button on your Roku remote, and you can give us a rating there. It's very important that you do this for us. We're trying to get up, obviously, 100 reviews. We want to get better. We want to improve.
And people come to us when they see reviews. I mean, more people watch the show.
Reviews help the show and help you guys get more content. Because more reviews we get, the more motivated we are, obviously, keep this going, do more shows. So if you do have Roku, you watch your show, please go ahead and rate us. Hopefully 5 stars will you give us, and go from there and enjoy the rest of the content.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And you can also go over to patreon.com. We're also there with our show. You can also become a subscriber so you see when every episode comes on the air. We're pretty consistent, but in the week like this where we took weeks off, you'd be seeing that we're now here on Friday. So there we go. Let's get into the show, Joey. As we talked about, we know we're going to do our normal rewind show. Lots of stuff happened in the NFL as we get to the end, particularly in our second home, which is Seattle, where we lived for a number of years for work. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to get to our projections for the playoffs this weekend. So we're going to do 2 separate shows. If you're watching one, make sure you go over and see the other. We're going to try to do 2 of them for you today and get through that. Joey, let's get started with our home team, the Seahawks. So I'm going to let you talk first because they made one of them, what we think is a major signing, at least for the city, if not for the team.
Yeah, so first of all, they had a bad loss on Sunday.
Well, I want to talk about that because I got to cover Russell Wilson personally.
Okay. Anyways, they did have a bad loss, but in that loss, they had 2 running backs that hurt, Chris Carson, CJ Prosise, Rashard Penny was already hurt from a couple weeks before. So obviously big news in Seattle. They did not have a running back going into the playoffs, really. I do like the rookie, Homer, I believe is his last name. We'll see what role he gets. But they go on and sign Robert Turbin, who's going to be a decent back, probably play every now and then. But they went on and got beast mode, Marshawn Lynch, back in Seattle, back in his colors, his number, and everything that he belongs in. I am super excited. It just brings me so much joy to have him back for this possible playoff run. We're very good this year. We're missing a key piece, especially at home where the energy quite hasn't been there. We actually only have the 5th best home record over the last 4 years, and people talk about Seattle being Seattle. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, one thing that might bring Seattle back up to the old Seattle Stadium is Marshawn Lynch, and I'm telling you that this is huge for Seattle. I think it was such a smart decision. It's not week 4. It's not week 7. This is week 17, so we need him to go 4 games. Marshawn, we need 4 of your best games, potentially win a Super Bowl, or 3 of your best games, and to get it done. I just feel like this is huge for the team. I think it re-energized the city after a tough loss. I think it was smart to bring these 2 guys back in with the injuries. They know this system. They both have been there for a while. Wilson loves them. But bring back beast mode after he kind of left on a iffy note with the Seahawks. Going in Oakland, I just didn't feel like that was the right way to end his career. So him coming back is awesome. Don't care about next year. It's about right now, and I think he could be that spark plug that we need.
And his body's probably in the best shape it's been in.
Definitely.
I mean, these guys who get time off, people think, look at that time off, but when they come back, they've rested the body. It could be great for him that he's ready to go. Without a doubt, the city's going to be pumped. The team's going to be pumped going into the final game of San Francisco. It's everything we're going to talk about in the playoff show. But I think it's fantastic for him to come back. I think it's just a great scenario. I think of Nick Foles a few years ago. Now, he wasn't sitting out when it happened, but Nick Foles had not done much for a number of years when he was away from Philly. Came back, was sitting behind Wentz. Wentz had a great start, I think 8-1, 9-1, something like that. And then Foles comes in and runs them through to the Super Bowl. I'm getting that kind of karma, Joe.
Well, I'm telling you, they're going to announce the offense. So usually before each game, you announce defense. They're going to announce the offense. When they announce 24, Marshall Lynch, he runs out his tinted visor. I mean, you just need one run to get that crowd to go berserk from him. Like a 20-yard run or something, break one tackle. I mean, the crowd's ready for this, and they want to really go loud for him in this big game. I mean, it's such a big game, and we all knew it, that even San Francisco's coach said, yeah, we never prepared for a 1 o'clock game. We always knew it was probably going to be the night game because of the flex schedule the NFL does. So, I mean, it's just super cool that it's come down to this, and he comes back right at this moment. I think it's everything for Seattle. I think this could be huge for them going into the playoffs, going into this game. I think they win this game. I think they have a good chance to go all the way. Not necessarily because, like I said, I don't think he's going to go put up maybe 100 yards every game, but maybe a couple touchdowns. But more importantly, just the energy. Like I said, I think one run in that Seattle house will just make the crowd go berserk. So he might go 100 every day. Carson was going 100 per game, so there's no reason why Lynch couldn't do it. But I'm just thinking of touchdowns. I'm thinking of celebration. I'm thinking of motivation.
Are you thinking they might get down the 1 yard line and this time run the ball?
They would have to. You know what? Yeah, in sports, you always hear stories, right? You can almost predict every sports outcome based on a story.
Yeah.
And this would be the story. If you're believing this kind of stuff. I mean, you look at when the Saints won their only Super Bowl, the hurricane hit. Like, there's always these. This isn't that severe,
wild
but
stuff.
There's always wild stuff that goes on. You know, the year New England won a Super Bowl was the year Brady was suspended for 4 games, right? And the one time Philly won the Super Bowl, it's with Nick Foles. Like, this stuff happens, guys, and it's meant to be. And
this is a sports
I would not
story.
rule it out if it's Patriots Seattle comes on the wire and Lynch gets the ball. Like, it feels like God and destiny and whatever. Sports is going to make this happen. I'm really excited.
How often when we're big movie watchers, how often do we watch a true story movie and say if someone had written that, we would have all said, yeah, sure, what cheesy ending or whatever.
And what movie would it be? You're right that the best running back comes back to his home team. Like, if it happens, I mean, we'll see. But I think there's a good potential for that for sure.
Here's one thing I can almost guarantee. I think the fans are going to break the noise barrier that they had before, right? Maybe even when he's introduced, they might break that because I think Seattle holds the record for the loudest crowd ever. So it's going to be interesting to see that. So we're really excited about Seattle on Sunday night against San Francisco. So
I mean, he literally has a beast mode named after him. Only him. Like, he started. So.
And one thing I do love, he never goes out of character. He does his first interview. What does he say? I'm only here so I don't get fined. I mean, everybody was waiting for him to say that.
And
it was almost perfect.
He says Merry New Year. Like, he's just great.
So anyways, lots of fun. Let's get to what wasn't a lot of fun, where they could have last week really shown they were ready to go to the Super Bowl. They throw a stinker into Arizona, an absolute stinker. You guys, if you watched last week's show, and if you didn't, go back and see my rant on Russell Wilson. This guy is not an MVP quarterback. He is only worried about his own stats. Joey, I think only 4 targets downfield to Metcalf and my favorite player, I can't come up with his name, Lockett. 4 targets downfield to those 2 guys, and everything else is to try and build up his stats. He's the biggest eagle there is in football. He hides it the best of any quarterback there is. He throws nothing but short passes, relies on a running game, and it didn't work, and he couldn't make it happen against a terrible team in Arizona, who's not even 500, I don't think. I didn't look at their number because they've been out of the playoffs for a long time. But there you are, not even getting momentum built. Now, can you imagine if they lose Sunday night and they go into the wild card, which no team has come out of the wild card? All of this other crap we just talked about is all done, and he couldn't put up a victory when we needed to continue that motivation. That's my rant again this week against Russell Wilson. I've been right all along. This guy does not use his targets. He's got a guy 6'5", 6'7". Just throw the ball to him, whether he's covered or not. The guy can jump higher than almost all quarterbacks in the league. Throw the damn ball to him, but Wilson will not risk an interception. That's why he had the longest streak without an interception, and I believe it's going to be real trouble Sunday night. I do think that Lynch might bring the motivation that overcomes Wilson's incompetence, but maybe not. So there you go. You said you wouldn't say anything when I said it, so that I get to say that.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, I think he had 2 line tackles, obviously injured, but I mean, it's just hard to debate when I could throw a bunch of stats at you. Although I agree with you a little bit that Metcalf only had 2 targets and Lockett had 2 as well. I think that needs to go up. I think there's aspects of the game. I don't think he's an individual show is what my biggest thing is. I think he's a good quarterback.
But Joey, how does 7 weeks ago Lockett gets 20 targets and now he's getting 2? How does that work?
Lockett's injured. I mean, I think
how does that work?
I think he's not Lamar Jackson, but I think he's a good quarterback. But he's not worth the money in my mind.
But we'll anyway. They're talking about MVP.
They'll go on and probably win a Super Bowl just to shut him up.
Maybe,
and then he'll still rant about we have 2 Super Bowls, but he sucks and this and that. I don't know.
What happens.
I'll tell you one thing. I tell you what, he's a team leader because all these players around the league that ever have an opportunity are now looking to go to Seattle. And it's true. I mean, I'll say of many things, but one thing about Wilson is he makes guys want to come play in Seattle.
He might be a nice guy.
Him and Carroll make Clowney wanted to go there. Lynch wants to come back. Gordon wanted to go there. Top player Antonio Brown called and begged to go there. They want to go play in Seattle. So there's a lot of question
Antonio
marks.
Brown, it's because marijuana is legal. That's the only reason he wanted to go.
Antonio Brown's not the one supposed to play. It's Josh Gordon. Get your facts.
Sorry.
No, but
I knew one of them was with the marijuana.
So we'll see. I mean, we'll
see what happens. But you know what? Let's go back. Super Bowl cluster, and then what? First round loss. Didn't make playoffs. First round loss. So we'll see. He's got all the tools. No excuses.
So he's made the playoffs every year of his career besides once. He has the most wins. He has the most.
2 of his young career.
Prime time. He has the most prime time wins in history through this many seasons. In fact, he only has 2 losses in prime time football, which is Thursday night, Monday night, and Sunday night. So you can say what you want. He gets in the playoffs.
Yeah, here's what I want. I want SB, and it doesn't matter if you don't.
Well, he's right on track with Tom Brady.
So we'll see what happens.
Right on track with Tom Brady has won 3 of his Super Bowls at the age of 40.
Hey, you know what? This will make for a good game for us because we'll not only be cheering for Seattle to win, but then be able to yell at Russell Wilson.
You don't cheer for Seattle when you yell Russell Wilson.
I just want him to win. I want him to get the ball to Lockett and to Metcalf, and that's as simple as that. We'll see what happens with the game coming up, and we want them to win. We're obviously our home team, but Wilson is not my guy. Actually, I don't even bother. If he signed a $15 million contract and not everybody said he was the greatest quarterback, football really wouldn't bother me that much. He's an average quarterback. If he got paid as an average quarterback and everybody acknowledged it, I'd be okay with it too. Hey, listen, we got some coaching news in the past week. Mike McCarthy, if everybody forgets, Green Bay, many years of Green Bay, got into a bit of a feud with the quarterback, which nobody should do, and was out, but he's been interviewed by the Panthers this week. So I think that's an interesting spot for him to go, although Cam Newton's going to be back next year, and so, you got another one of these.
Well, I don't like it at all. I'd never hire a veteran coach right now unless your team is a veteran team. I mean, if you're a team that's making the playoffs and your coach can't get you over the hump, hire another veteran. But I wouldn't hire anybody right now that's an old NFL coach. I think you're seeing it in all sports. Go get someone new. Go get someone with a new idea. I mean, as much as Arizona has a bad record, they've lost a lot of close games. They play well because of Cliff Kingsbury, a young coach who took a young quarterback that no one thought would work, has created an unbelievable offense. They just have no defense. All these young coaches come in and make it work with a new quarterback. It's a lot less money. I don't understand bringing in Mike McCarthy. The Panthers are not ready to win. Even if Cam Newton comes back healthy, they're still not ready to win. So
they're going to win soon. You got McCarthy there. You have McCaffrey there, and you're going to have Newton
but McCaffrey's in his second year in the NFL. People forget how young some of these football players. I know he doesn't probably.
But he's
running backs
talent.
only last till 32. I agree though, but you need a young coach with McCaffrey too. You need a young coach to go in and go, you're my best guy, I'm going to give you the ball 100 times a game. Get a young quarterback that can run with him. I'd run a college offense right now. Unless Cam Newton says he's going to come back and do a running offense scheme with the best running back and he can easily be a best running quarterback. They need something like Baltimore's running right now, which is Mark Ingram, who's a great running back, a quarterback Lamar Jackson that's running the ball. They need an offense like that. If I'm whoever decides the coaching, I'm picking a college coach, bringing a college quarterback that's willing to put his body on the line. Cam Newton cannot put his body out there anymore. He's too banged up. And I run an offense like that where there's a lot of laterals, there's a lot of zone reads, there's a lot of both of them running, one's blocking, one's running. That's the offense you need. So I'm against every veteran coach getting rehired unless it's a veteran team that's just one step away. But that's not the Carolina Panthers. They need a new quarterback. They need McCaffrey to be a vocal point. and then they could be good enough. But they need a college coach to do that.
Well, I can't really argue with you about that. I mean, I think that's a trend. I think it is going to be there. Interesting that they went to talk to McCarthy. Maybe they think they're further along. Maybe they think Cam Newton.
They're thinking they
at the
have to
point in
keep
their career.
Cam. The fans are pushing them to keep Cam. So that's the biggest fear right now. And then if you do keep Cam, unfortunately, you do have to look at, is there a veteran coach that can get him?
Or
to
is
work?
there a young quarterback that can put up with his ego that he has, and maybe he'll come back with less of that. We'll see what happens. But that may be why they're looking at a veteran coach, is because of that. We're talking playoffs here in our next show, Joey, and the Ravens are saying that they're going to sit Lamar and a number of their big players. You know, is this right? Well, you get to do whatever you want, so is it right? Probably, because you get to rest up for the playoffs. But it really could hurt the whole playoff picture.
It's going to, because Pittsburgh's probably going to win. Although, you got to remember, their backup's Robert Griffin III. Their backup running back's pretty good. Their back, we're not saying the O-line or the D-line. It's mostly these wing players, right? So, I wouldn't give the game to Pittsburgh. I'm actually thinking RG3 is an unbelievable talent who can't be a starter because he's injured. He's like the Ryan Tannehill, right? You know, he belongs. This is a perfect team to be on, because going further with Lamar, there might be a game or two he needs to sit. There might be 2 or 3 that he gets injured and he needs to come in and play. This is perfect for Robert Griffin III. I think he'll be pretty good. I think it's way easier, obviously, for Pittsburgh than having to deal with Lamar, but I wouldn't hand them the game. But it does affect the playoff picture, although at the end of the day, Tennessee is the team that can go into Houston and win. It doesn't matter what anyone else does. So at the end of the day, you control your own destiny. And you can't say, well, this team's sitting, this team's not sitting. Houston might sit some players. They can't really move up much. I mean, honestly, you got Kansas City that's ahead of them. They're already winning their division. Unlikely Kansas City's going to lose this week. Unlikely New England's going to lose this week. So they're not moving up. So they might sit their guys too. So then, you know,
and to be
you can't put rules in. That's all I'm saying. You can't put rules in.
I agree. I mean, we're never going to get to that point where you got to have these guys in, because then star quarterback gets hurt in the final game and the fans are going losing their minds. So they're never going to do it. But we'll see what happens. But Pittsburgh got enough trouble with their own. Mason Rudolph's out.
I tell you what,
they're at their third string quarterback, and they can't pull him this week and try and get a couple touchdowns. They're in deep trouble.
I'd go to Big Ben right now and go, do you have one game?
Yeah,
like,
can you
come
stand
on.
on one leg?
Like, you only have to put up 21 points. Our defense is phenomenal. Just don't throw 4 interceptions. Like, I'd ask him. I'd think about it, but obviously he's not coming back. But I'd find anybody right now. I mean, I don't know who's sitting on the street, but there's got to be some veteran that just won't throw the ball away.
Well, I did hear rumors, which always happen. I heard something about Terry Bradshaw coming back, and quite honestly, he would be better. I mean, he's a little bit overweight, but just give him the ball in the shotgun, and he'll throw the ball fast enough. So we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you what,
Pittsburgh's in dire shape in my mind, whether Baltimore plays or they don't.
I think they're in trouble. I think it's a tough game for them. I think they blew it against the Jets. I'm going to go with Tennessee probably getting in that spot.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat the Jets.
Yeah.
You don't even beat
the Jets are sneaky.
You can't beat the second ranked offense on Baltimore. You're not going to beat them even. So we're not going to likely see that. Well, Philly beat Dallas. I don't know what it's like to be in the Dallas management room. I don't know what it's like to be there with Jimmy Johnson. I don't know what it's like to be, with Jones. I don't know what it's like to be such an up and down team. I know Dak is hurt and all those kind of things. But it must be depressing to wipe a team out the week before, come into Philly, and throw a stinker out there. I mean, it was just
Well, let me tell you this. They're not out of it, guys.
No, they're not.
The Giants can easily beat the Philadelphia Eagles right now, which will be hilarious. Because then if the Dallas Cowboys can beat Washington, which I thought would be a tougher game, but Dwayne Haskins is out.
Yeah,
so
true.
Dallas is getting a walkover. So they're going to beat Washington.
Well, I don't think Dallas ever gets a walkover because
at home Dallas can... Dallas is good against bad teams. I mean, that's the end of the day. And at home, they're way better, too. They're horrible outdoors. There was Gronk one time on TV saying it's because they practice indoors, they play indoors, which is true.
Get ready.
But I'm telling you, unfortunately for us at home, this is not over. Dallas can easily beat Washington and Philly can easily lose the Giants. It'll be interesting, but I tell you, Daniel Jones went on through 5 touchdowns last week. It'll be something to see for sure. And Washington Case Keenum's going to play. You never know what kind of game he might throw out there. It's going to come down the wire, but huge win for Philly because otherwise they definitely probably would have been out of it. So,
and let's face it, Washington paid him a lot of money to come there, so there's no expectation he should be terrible this week. We'll see what happens.
And I tell you what, this is bigger for Philly right now. Philly's got to get in.
Oh my God,
But I tell you what, if you're a wild card team right now, because whoever wins this division gets a home game, you hope it's Philly, because Philly will lose to either San Francisco or Seattle. I guarantee you that. But if Dallas gets in, they can throw a big game against San Francisco or Seattle in Dallas.
Yeah.
That will be interesting. So I'm guaranteeing you, Seattle and San Francisco are hoping that Philly gets a W and gets the division title.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We're going to see that. Hey, listen, let's talk about the legend. Brady goes into Buffalo, or another way around. Sorry, Brady up against Buffalo and pulls out the win. I mean, that's what this guy does. He wins. Whether he's the greatest quarterback anymore, I think that's obvious. You can say no, but he knows how to win. He had to beat Buffalo. He did that. He's forced a home game in New England, even though they did lose one this year. But he's forced a home game in New England. No one goes into New England and wins a playoff game. I think Brady shows that when the game is on the line, he can still find a way to win.
Well, they still got to beat Miami, but I think they're vulnerable though. They look so bad on offense. It's baffling to me. I think part of it's trust. Part of it is I've heard Brady hasn't practiced a lot this year because of minor injuries.
Yeah.
So might be getting reps in with the new receivers. I have no confidence really in them going to the playoffs, except for the fact that it's 2 games and they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So can they pull it out? I mean, they're going to probably have to face Kansas City in New England, probably in the second round there. But
they do have, they've got a defense which they haven't always had.
Yeah, but the defense has been vulnerable against top teams. I mean, when they played Lamar Jackson, Baltimore, they walked all over them, and even Houston walked all over New England and Houston. So there's teams that can easily beat them. I tell you what, running quarterbacks their Achilles heel right now, and if you look at the AFC, it's all running quarterbacks. Yeah. It's Lamar. It's Patrick Mahomes, they'd probably rather face Mahomes than Lamar right now because Mahomes,
even though he can run, he doesn't
run unless he has to.
Yeah.
So I look at Lamar, Deshaun Watson, who can run the ball. Even Patrick Mahomes can run the ball. It's going to be tough. I mean, it really is. I think New England's in for an interesting playoff series, but they're going to get one at home where he's like 99-3. Not exactly, but he's ridiculous.
Something like that. They only lost one at home this regular season, so we'll see what happens. But just amazing that whenever he needs to, he can go out there, and whether he's great or he can will his team to be great. They beat Buffalo. Buffalo could have taken the top spot. They still go out there and win.
He's undefeated when the weather is 0 degrees or lower.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, he's hoping
the
for
weather going into this
cold weather.
They won
come New England in the playoffs. I tell you what, that's his biggest thing. Lamar Jackson has not dealt with that cold.
Yeah.
That would be something if he can get that kind of weather. Brady can work in that weather where other guys cannot. And it's harder for Lamar, who gets hit when he runs the ball.
When your body's frozen solid, guys are nailing you, and it's so the ground's hard and cold. And
he's hoping.
We'll see what happens.
For snow, and he's hoping for cold.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But he did come in when he needed to win after 3 losses in a row, I think it was, or 2 out of 3 losses.
It just shows Buffalo actually.
Just shows he can actually do that. Really. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Listen, just a note here. We don't have to talk about it, but Sproles is retiring after a 15-year career with Philly. I don't like it because of how small he was. What a dedicated player. What he did over his whole career was amazing for a guy that size, and what he was able to do. Not a lot of injuries. Played on some good teams. And
he had a lot of injuries near the end, unfortunately. Like the last 3 years, he's been out every year.
But up to that, he was really a workhorse.
And he was huge in that New Orleans team when they won the title, him and Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
If only they kept that tandem together, what could have been there in New Orleans. But they were special together.
What a great 15-year career for running back, and especially at his size. So anyway, we wanted to wish him the best. I've heard nothing but good things about Sproles. I've never heard a bad thing. So love to see guys like that do well, and hopefully he'll do well in the career coming up. Just quickly here, Seattle, another guy. I mean, Elwood suspended for 4 games. Again, why can't these guys not stay off the illegal drugs? What's the story?
I mean, it's just tough.
Last week, Josh Gordon. This week, you got Al Woods. I know that that kind of drug is not a problem in Seattle except with the NFL, but it's with the NFL.
PEDs, right?
The PEDs, yeah.
That's performance. That's not weed. They'd mention if it was weed. I mean, that's.
I'm thinking CBDs. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Those are just steroids.
Yeah.
So I mean, it happens. It happens on every team. I mean, really, if you follow your team closely, they have guys like this. I don't even know who Al Woods is. These guys are always dropping with suspensions, minor suspensions.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is Dwayne Brown's injured, and that'll be interesting. Our left tackle. So we'll see going forward.
Although Clowney says he will play.
Clowney's playing, and he is fired up. I tell you what, he's fired up for this game. It's going to be a lot of fun to put it under the lights in Seattle. With Beast Mode back, I mean, you couldn't have really asked for a better final game of the year. It will be officially the final game of the year. There's no Monday night, so Sunday Night Football. I mean, you literally couldn't ask if you're the NFL. Like, you're just licking your chops.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you get this lucky?
Well,
you put this game at last. You have some of the best players literally in the league. I mean, you got Sherman out there, Garoppolo, Wilson, Lynch. You got George Kittle. I mean, you got some of the best talent in the NFL going head-to-head under lights in Seattle. It's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Here's what's so important. no team has come out of the wild card since Eli did it, so that's 100 years ago. Eli's been bad so long, but Eli's the last one. So here's what happens Sunday night: the loser is out of the Super Bowl race.
Actually, maybe the winner.
Period.
Maybe the winner.
The winner goes on to the championship.
No, because the Seahawks can win and not be top 2 seeds. They could be the 3 seed, which means they play wild card weekend.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Yeah. So
Seattle I didn't realize. I thought the winner of this game wins the division.
No, because of the loss last week, if Seattle wins and Green Bay and New Orleans also win, then they're the 3 seed, which means they play wild card weekend at home, but they play wild card weekend.
Well, then they're done. That's it. If you're the wild card team, you're out. So Sunday night's game is win or you're out of the Super Bowl chase. We're going to talk about that in our playoff race, but that's history, and it'll probably hold up.
I'll tell you why it's different, though. You haven't had this many records, which is weird, from 1 through 6. It's baffling, really, when you think about the NFC.
There's real highs and lows.
I mean, in the AFC, it makes sense because you always have 2 teams way above the rest, and there's just like this year, there's an average team that's going to get in the playoffs, but the NFC this year is ridiculous, and with the Dallas Cowboys and Eagles division, that's not even counting, so whoever plays that game easily could win. It's a little different this year only because the quality of records from the teams that are going to be in the
wild card. You're battling against history.
You're going to fight. You're going to play against Minnesota or Seattle or San Francisco in wild card weekend, and you're the home team. I mean, that's
but it only gets you through one game. The history is they have not won the Super Bowl. That's what I'm telling you.
Because there's no rest. It's all about the bye.
Sunday night you get the bye. If you're the division and conference winners, you move on with the bye, and that's been the key to winning the Super Bowl, without a doubt. Listen, I want to talk one thing about Le'Veon Bell because I didn't expect this at all. He just proves that you need a good team in front of you and you need a good line. The Jets, no help to the Jets.
Yeah, someone said that.
I said that's why I'm bringing it up so you get a chance to tell me.
I said it does not matter that he was healthy. People were saying playoffs. People were saying he's going to be amazing. Yeah. I said the line is no good, and that's why Sam Darnold has had a good but not great 2 years. He's a good He's a great quarterback potentially with any sort of. I told you. The Jets aren't good enough even with him, and his running style is worse. People said it was better. It's worse because he pauses. Well, that's so the line creates holes. On a good offensive line, that makes sense. On a bad offensive line, you need to pound it right away so you can get lucky, break a towel, and be gone. I said this from the beginning.
Listen, I'm a good co-host. I brought it up. So
you did bring it up.
So you could do
this. But
this.
I'm glad because I was right. Because, like I said.
I thought he would make New York a playoff team. I really thought he was pretty good, but.
He could if they got a line because he's that good. But also, by the way, they used them wrong this year. I don't like Adam Gase as a coach. And honestly, his answer to why they asked him about what should you tell the fans, are you worried about your job? And he goes, I don't care, I'm rich as, that for it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not a great attitude.
No.
So, I don't like Adam Gase. I don't really like the way they use him. Honestly, he should be James White of the New England Patriots. He really shouldn't run the ball much at all. I mean, people forget that was his hallmark in Pittsburgh as much as it was running the ball. He was unbelievable passing running back. But, I told you, you got to have, if you're going to have a bad line, you got to have a running back that can break tackles. He's not that guy. He's the guy that pauses and waits for holes open, which looks pretty when you have a good offensive line. Because guys that don't wait for those holes run into their offensive line like, we're good.
We said that last year when what's his name went in for him? Connor.
He's good.
He was just as good out there because the holes are opened up by that offensive line. So anyway, I wanted to allow you to go and do that.
I was spot on. I was also spot on with Buffalo, and we were both spot on with Cleveland and Baltimore this year. So if anyone wants to watch our old shows, we were spot on with 4 massive things in the NFL.
So watch our camp reviews next year.
And I also said Green Bay was going to be good. Yeah, I didn't predict Chicago to be this bad, but I said Green Bay would be good.
I picked them to win the division. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, you can be wrong on one of them, no problem. Yeah. Anyway,
and I predicted the Chargers to be crap, I believe.
Let's talk about one more that happened this week pretty quickly. It was an obvious one. The Jaguars fired Tom Coughlin. Another guy probably passed his time, and they'll move on with somebody else. Not really one to discuss. Team's not been good for a long time. Just need a new feel around that team, I think. So
I'll tell you what, it was interesting. The first year he's there, they go to the AFC Championship, almost beat Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And then they blow it up.
Yeah. What goes on, eh? Just a note that Tigers, Derrick Henry will be ready to play. Titans. Derrick Henry will be ready to play for this weekend.
That's important.
That's huge for them. I mean, if he's not healthy, it won't matter. But if he is healthy, that's huge for them. So we'll see that for the game. Ingram, pretty confident to be back for the playoffs. This is huge. I think this is huge.
Well, that is important. I mean, I don't think they want to go without him. I mean, obviously, he's going to get this week off. Then they're going to get the bye. It's important to be in first place.
Yeah.
They can even go without him maybe against like a Houston team, but they're going to want him back, so that's good news for sure.
Yeah, so I think that's great for them to have that happen. I think it makes them.
J.J. Watt will also be back, by the way. I don't know if you had that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I was trying to read. He will be back for the playoffs, which
Wow.
is pretty huge when you think about it. Everyone thought he was done, so I don't know what kind of impact he'll have. He's another guy that was like beast mode. He's just going to bring the crowd at least.
Yeah.
At least he's going to pump them up.
A lot of motivation, pump them up. That's as big as anything is momentum and feeling positive going into these games. So opposite of Baltimore, Sean Payton says we're not sitting our starters on New Orleans this weekend.
Well, they don't need a win to be top 2, but they need a win to be number 1. So
yeah, so they're going to go for it. They could have sat back and made sure they're going to be healthy, but they're going to go for that.
I mean, I would have because I don't know.
position.
You were 5-0 without Drew Brees anyway.
Yeah.
So play Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
I don't understand this at all. Like, you don't have to sit your receivers maybe, but not sitting Drew Brees.
Yeah.
When you were 5-0 with Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. It would have been.
Why not?
So.
I mean, don't let Brees get hurt. Or maybe he doesn't care if Brees gets hurt. I don't know.
So let's talk about an injury that does matter, and I think mattered last week against Philly. Prescott, one of the trainers is saying his injury is bad enough that they could lose to the Redskins. We were talking about the Redskins having RG3 in there, but Dallas doesn't even have a backup that's going to step up and take over.
The Redskins
that.
have Case Keenum, no.
Sorry, Case Keenum, yeah. So Dallas doesn't have even that. So you're going to see Prescott playing with a bad shoulder. He looked bad last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think his agent is smart for making up injuries, and I think he's just garbage. So, I don't really care. I think he's horrible. I think he's so bad, it's embarrassing that he has Ezekiel Elliott as his running back, and he wants $30 million. I think his agent was like, we got to make up an injury for your contract negotiations because he is awful, and he overthrows receivers. It is baffling. I mean, he is... And add an aspect to your game then, man. Like, run the ball a little bit more. I think they're good when they're running an offense where he runs. It's like Trubisky and Allen and Buffalo and Lamar. I mean, if they get injured, go get another one. But they're not working if they don't run the ball. That's what they did in college. And with the hitting these days, even when the quarterback's notified as a runner, you still can't hit him dirty.
Yeah.
I don't get. I think Prescott might be injured, but I think it has nothing to do with his plan. But I don't think he's that good. I think he's good and good enough to win with this team if he doesn't take the money away from other players. But I think other players are more important to this team, and I think you got to have him run the ball a little bit, be smarter with the ball, and honestly rely on Elliott, the defense. Mari Cooper tossed up to him a couple times, but he shouldn't get $30 million. I think this is more excuses near the end of the season. And people are congratulating him for playing through it. I don't know, man. I just don't think. I think I congratulate Carson Wentz, who has played with a bunch of backup receivers. He's getting sacked like 3-4 times a game and still putting up numbers.
At least.
Dak Prescott, man, you got Mark Cooper, who's open on every freaking play. You got other guys, and you got Elliott. I mean, I don't like.
I don't know why you're not running Elliott 50 times a game. I mean, that's his job.
Elliott wants the ball. He's $30 million. Hand him the ball as much as you can, and then on third down, it should be third and short. Now, if he's not getting first down and second down yardage, then I'll defend Dak Prescott. More importantly, you get what you need to know what you have.
Yeah.
They're not knowing what they have because they're not doing that. But I run the ball first, second down, and then I throw it on third. I mean, it should be a simple process here in Dallas, but the shoulder injury might hurt a little bit, but I'm not buying it enough that I think he's just not very good right now, and under pressure and under the need to win for his coach and for his city right now in a bad division. Got lucky with what's-his-face being good, Philly, so there's excuses.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a big enough deal to say this is why they didn't make the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs because they lost the bad teams.
Yeah, I know. I agree 100%. So, anyway, there was a recap of the last week, just some notes that might impact the playoffs this weekend. We are going to now break and do an NFL playoff show based on what's coming up here on the end of the season. Last week, as we were talking about leading the playoffs. So, we'll be back, and we're going to do the playoff show next.
You want to do a playoff show as well?